day. Today's show is Best of Life Stories for 2023 award-winning books to read over the holidays. The show today is brought to you thanks to the Your Family Story system, which helps you create a loved one's life story. I have a special deal on this system, so stay with me until we get to the end of the show. So this show is a special edition. It's actually my fave show of the year, and it's a time where I look back over the whole past year and look at the award winners for a number of different prizes for different books around the world. And I've got a short list. I've come up with 5 top books that are on my reading list, and I reckon you should consider as well. They're winning books from not only here in Australia, but over in America and the United Kingdom. So there's a range of authors from all over, and I'm going to review these books in the coming year, so in 2024, and you can join me on this show or over at my website, Forever Young Autobiographies. So let's jump into the first on the reading list, which is called My Dream Time, a memoir of tennis and teamwork by Ash Barty. Now this is a HarperCollins release, and it won the Australian Book Industry Awards for 2023 Biography Book of the Year. I'm going to read a little bit from the blurb, just give you a little bit of an insight, see if it might be for you. So it starts, it's a tennis story, it's a family story, it's a teamwork story, it's the story of how I got to where and who I am today. I'm only in my mid-20s, and some might think that's young to write a memoir. Who does that, right? But for me and my team, it's always been important to reflect on every part of the journey, especially the end. And in that context, the timing is perfect to share my story from the first time I picked up a racket as a 5-year-old girl in Ipswich to the night I packed up my tennis bag at Melbourne Park after winning the 2022 Australian Open. So that sounds very interesting. An Australian sportswoman, and there's a lot to that one. Smiles and tears, highs and lows. The second one I have for you is also an Australian sports person, but this one picked up the Australian Book Industry Award for 2023 Social Impact Book of the Year. And it's The Boy from Boomerang, Crescent by Eddie Betts. And it's put out by Simon and Schuster. So to read, it says, it's a long, hard road from the Nullarbor to the MCG. How does a self-described skinny Aboriginal kid overcome a legacy of family tragedy to become an AFL legend, which is Australian Football League legend? One thing's for sure, it's not easy. But then there's always been something special about Eddie Betts. Betts grew up in Port Lincoln and Kalgoorlie, in environments where the destructive legacies of colonialism were sadly normalised. His childhood was defined by family closeness as well as family strife. So that's a great one, for better or for worse, this one, but so much to learn from a social impact point of view. Now, moving on to the next one, which is an award I usually do every year. As a journalist, I really take interest in the Walkley Awards. This is the Book of the Year Award for 2023, and it's not so much a typical life story, but it's topical, so keeping an open mind. It's the Palestine Laboratory, How Israel Exports the Technology of Occupation Around the World by Antony Loewenstein. It's put out by Scribe Publications. So it reads, best-selling journalist Antony Loewenstein, hope I've said that correctly, uncovers the widespread commercialization and brutal deployment globally of Israel's occupation-enforcing technologies. For more than 50 years, the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza have given the Israeli state invaluable experience in controlling an enemy, in quotes, population, the Palestinians. So that's very topical, this one at this point in time. And it goes into a lot about the depth that says here of Israel becoming a leader in spy technology defence. So I'll give you more on that once I get through it. The fourth one on the list is called Super Infinite, The Transformation of Donne, I think that's right, by Katherine Rundell, and it's put out by Faber. This one is the British Book Awards 2023 Book of the Year for Non-Fiction Narrative. From a standout scholar, a sparkling and very modern biography of John Donne, the poet of love, sex and death. John lived myriad lives, sometimes religious outsider and social disaster, sometimes celebrity preacher and establishment darling. He was incapable of being just one thing. He was a scholar of law, a sea adventurer, an MP, a priest, the Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral, and perhaps the greatest love poet in the history of the English language. So this one promises to be something that's full of sadness, but it has electric joy and love. So looking forward to that one. To round out the list, I have G-Man, Edgar Hoover, and the Making of the American Century by Beverly, Gage, and this is put out by Viking. It won the 2023 Pulitzer Prize for biography. So very, very keen to read this one. It says here, a major new biography of Hoover that draws from never before seen sources to create a groundbreaking portrait of a colossus who dominated half a century of American history and planted the seeds for much of today's conservative political landscape. It says, we remember him as a bulldog, squat frame, bulging, wide-set eyes, fearsome jowls. But in 1924, when he became the director of the FBI, he had been the trim, dazzling wonder kid of the administrative state, buzzing with energy and big ideas to reform. So yeah, a lot to unpack with this one, but I'm sure it's going to be well worth it. So there you go, that's what's on my reading list for 2024 as a life story coach. So please tune in when I review these in the new year. And I'm really hoping that this list here today is going to inspire you for some must-read books to put on your list. And these are from award winners from 2023. If you'd like to see more about the books, so the full blurbs, you've got pictures of the books, links on where to buy the books, go over to my website, foreveryoungautobiographies.com/best life stories of 2023. I'll have a link for you also in the description, so you won't want to miss that one. But while you're here, have you got a book suggestion for me? Another one to read in addition to these ones? Maybe another life story book. I'd love to hear about it. You can send me an email at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/contact, or you can drop me a comment down below. I'd always love to hear from you if you've got any questions to do with life stories, whether that's planning, you're doing your actual creating, your polishing or your publishing. Please let me know. I'd love to help. Now, at the start of the show, I mentioned the Your Family Story system. This is a step-by-step process to interview a loved one, help them record their life story. I have some free sections for this at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/free. But at the moment, because it's the holidays, I'm offering 25% off the full system. So to find out more, go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/deal. Again, I'll have all the links for you down below and in the show notes and over at the website. So I highly recommend you check that out. It makes a really good gift and it keeps on giving down through the ages. So this is my last show for 2023 and it'd be really terrific if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, leave it a review. And I can't wait to see you in the new year with more shows just like this one. So until then, happy writing.